Warning. Listening to this show may result in increased levels of inspiration, motivation, and innovation. Side effects can include the immediate urge to take massive action to build a better business and life for yourself and others. You've been warned. Welcome to Influencers Radio with your host, Jack Mize.
And welcome back to another episode of Influencers Radio. You know, achieving greater financial or personal success and freedom is probably a goal or at least an aspiration for just about anyone. But what holds most people back isn't a lack of ability or desire. It's often the self-doubt, fear, procrastination, or lack of confidence that prevents success. Well, my guest today is Dr. Hadeily. She is a pediatrician and advocate for kids and family, as well as a personal success and mindset coach who is helping career women who feel stuck and overwhelmed to find clarity about their goals and priorities, to find balance and success in their career, business, and family life. Dr. Hadeily, welcome to Influencers Radio.
Oh, hello, Jack. Thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to share this information with anybody there that might be benefit from it.
Well, I think there's probably a lot of people can benefit from that, and I want to get deep into a lot of this stuff, the mindset. But first thing I have to ask is, what is it that would lead a pediatrician into the field of personal development?
So this started with my, it was a combination of two things. One is first my own personal journey, and second is when I see my own teenager patients, teen patients, sometimes I see myself in some of them, and I see how important it is to have that, those self-limiting beliefs removed. And unfortunately, I see a lot of teens and that have gone through different traumas and difficult situations that are actually cutting their possibilities in their mind. And I want to help them to realize that circumstances are not actually an excuse to stay stuck. And based on that, of course, I ended up starting to help other women. And for me, if someone needs help for the kids to be healthy, for a family to be healthy, is the mom, is the woman, is that's why I'm working a lot with other female doctors. I'm working a lot too with other moms that are trying to balance that relationship with their kids and guiding their kids, and at the same time balance their jobs, balance their careers. But mostly, I want to help them to understand the power of their mind and transmit that to their future generations.
Well, and that's really interesting how that, kind of crossed over, because I know you're the founder of an organization called Healthy and Strong Kids, right? Where you are, create awareness about neglect and child abuse, and you help parents to, raise healthy and strong kids. So, how does that, you mentioned your own personal journey. How did that translate into this? Because certainly you have to have a very deep passion and compassion for, people in these situations, and a lot of empathy. Can you go a little bit deeper into that background and how that developed your, insights into, development of human potential?
Yes, definitely. And I really appreciate that question. So, as I mentioned, as a pediatrician, I love kids, and I'm an advocate for kids and families. But and this started because myself as a kid was a kid who was neglected and unfortunately suffered abuse. But then I also was a teenager that was very, very fearful. And later, when I grew up as a woman, there were many doubts and self-image and self-limitations that we as women have. And all these in correlation with what I do in my life as a pediatrician, and I see those teens, those girls that there is a huge relationship on how their parents transmit their own doubts. Their parents transmit that a load of negative thoughts and possibly those self-doubts at the same time to their kids. So that's why I started the Healthy and Strong Kids was originally to help moms to improve their relationships with their kids and help the kids. But I couldn't, online, unfortunately, I couldn't just target the kids themselves, so I started focusing more on women. And I ended up working a lot with women that themselves have been through different traumas, women that themselves, they saw successful in their career or successful in certain area of their life, but they had many self-limiting beliefs that were not allowing them to either be successful in their personal life or be successful as a parent. And because I went through the same exact situation where in different stages of my life I suffered that when I was 5-year-old and I was left with my brother, I became a caretaker for him. And when I was 8, I said I want to protect kids and I want to be a doctor for kids. And later on, I just want to be helpful for anybody. But when I see a younger woman or I see someone where I reflect myself, I definitely want to help her. At some point, all these self-limiting beliefs also made me feel very successful as a doctor, but still have so many fears and doubts about establishing a relationship or being able to open up to other possibilities, or not having that balance between personal and family, basically career, personal life, family life. And that's where I work to help a woman to find their full potential, because many times in society, unfortunately, woman can be seen as someone who is not compared in the same way as the man, and I want to help them to find their full potential, but at the same time find that balance.
Well, your story is certainly inspiring, because those are some tremendous burdens for such a young, girl to take on, and yet you were able to take those on and even overcome a lot of those challenges to be where you are, become a successful doctor and helping so many other people. So to get into that mindset and that personal development side of it, it seems like one of the cruel ironies of life is that we are often able to recognize the talents and gifts in others, but so hard for us to recognize those in ourselves. How can you help people to overcome that, to be able to recognize those gifts, to gain that confidence and lose that fear and self-doubt?
Yes, I really appreciate that question. That's a very important question. Well, first we start by discovering ourselves. There is a phrase that I really, really like, and it says, if I want to be free, I gotta be me. Which means but who is me? Who are you? So that's very important. First, we have to identify and start by deciding what you really want in life, and then realizing that based on a science and based on theology, you have a great potential, infinite potential, but you haven't uncovered it. It's hidden in you, and what we work on is that we work on discovering that potential, not only discovering it, but deciding first what you would like to do, what is not working right now for you, where will you be happy being, working, what will make you fulfilled. But we start by identifying the situations that you don't like right now in your life, whether in your career, you're in a career that you don't like, or you feel that you could be getting more, whether in your family, your relationship is not good, or personal life, you haven't found that partner of your life. So let's identify first where you're at, then what is what you really want. Then by discovering what you really want, we're going to start discovering what is in there. And we're going to start basically substituting that. There's something called paradigms that are very interesting. It's like our programming. The programming we have, how our subconscious mind has been programming. And many times this is related to certain behaviors that will be holding us back, or certain habits that will be non-productive and not allowing us to show and develop our full potential. And I'm going to tell you, memory, we all have memory, and we all have the potential to have a good memory. This is one of our mental faculties, but there's no such thing as bad memory. There's just memories that have been trained and memories that haven't been trained. So part of our mental faculties, by these mental faculties can be trained, and by training those mental faculties, that your memory, your will, your imagination, your reasoning, your basically your perception, by training those, you will become more aware and discover who you are, discover what you really want, and gradually you will decide the results you want, instead of letting the current results affect you, or the current circumstances to actually determine how you live your life. Instead, by training these mental faculties, you will start reprogramming yourself and deciding the result you want.
I know that you talk about the need to build an attitude of success, for yourself and for your family. Is that part of that, or can you kind of define what that attitude of success means?
Yes. I work a lot on helping you basically not only train these mental faculties, but I also help you to use the power of your thoughts and the power of your. Let me explain you in a different way. If we could imagine a circle, and we split the circle in an upper half and a bottom half. Let's say that is our brain, let's say. And in the upper half, we're going to have our conscious mind. That is actually our intellect, our thoughts. And then in the bottom half, we have our subconscious mind. That is basically our the emotional mind. What happened is that these are connected, but the intellectual mind is what you know, what you can see, what you study, and the emotional mind, which is our subconscious mind, determines a lot how we react and our behaviors. By training our attitude, by having and creating an attitude of success, we are actually incorporating in our emotional mind tools that will help us to, instead of react to situations, we respond. And these greatly impact our behaviors, which in other words is our actions. And for example, if you have a negative attitude towards your boss or someone at work, what happens is that emotionally you will feel it. And that's going to manifest with basically maybe rude words, or a very serious looking face, or like in your mind you're going to keep talking bad about that person. But instead of that, we actually change our attitude, and we can change it consciously, but we can also change it subconsciously. By changing our attitude, then that's going to change our vibration. It's going to change our emotions. And one way to do it, just to give you an example, is that you can pick a person that is kind of an obstacle in your life, or someone that is bothering you, and my advice will be write down 5 good qualities of that person and focus on those 5 qualities. And next time you see that person, smile at that person instead of being serious with that person. And that gradually will change the attitude of that person towards you as well. And you will notice it's like you cannot go and directly change the person, but by you changing the attitude, you are going to start having a different response from your environment.
Well, I know a lot of this type of work, especially when you mentioned about the conscious and the subconscious beliefs, and I know that people at a lot of high levels are very very engaged and invested in this type of work, especially in high performance athletes and high performance, CEOs, and people think of this as really high level stuff, but the fact that you're taking this and really adapting it and, making it available to, the average person, the families, the mothers, I think is incredibly important. So when you talk about conscious and subconscious beliefs, because I know a lot of times people can know consciously, I need to stop doing this, or I need to do this in order to succeed, or I know this to be true, but somehow they still can't do it. Even, I think of something as common, say weight loss. People know I shouldn't eat this, or I know I should go and walk, but then they don't. What's the difference in knowing something consciously and then being able to strengthen those beliefs subconsciously? How does that work?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. That's part actually of the program. I work in a program where actually I work together with Bob Proctor, and we work on something called the knowing doing gap. And that is exactly what it is. You have all the knowledge. And something very interesting that Bob said is like, tell me what you want and I'll tell you how you get, how to get it. I actually work the same way. And the thing is that you already have the potential. You already have the knowledge. You don't need more knowledge to get the things done. But as you said with the example of the weight loss, even though we know we shouldn't be eating that cake, we still do it. And that is a lot related to our paradigms, which I have mentioned before. And this is because those paradigms, or that like multitude of habits or behaviors that are rooted in our subconscious mind, are things that it's like how our brain has been programmed. We can definitely close the knowing doing gap by changing our non-productive habits, or those like paradigms that are negative to us, for positive habits or positive or productive habits. So, but to change your paradigm, it is a process, and you should only change one or two habits at a time. And this is very important because the knowing doing gap exactly happens because you're not closing that between knowing and getting it done. But that is because we don't make that decision. We start procrastinating, but those are actually just habits we have that we need to change.
I think when you talk about that, it's actually probably one of the strongest and the most compelling arguments or evidence that how powerful this is. Because most people, when you think the word habit, I think a lot of people immediately think of bad habits, and we know that bad habits that we develop can lead to have a long-term negative impact on us. But it also seems when you develop good habits, it just goes to to reason that when you develop good habits, those can have long-term positive impact on us. Can you give an example of that? Is it as powerful for developing those positive habits as negatively impactful it is for those bad habits? Do you see that things can turn around that dramatically by changing just those few habits?
Yes, I can give you an example. For example, if you have the habit, and this is not necessarily, it wouldn't be necessarily called a bad habit, but if you are always negative and feel depressed because everything that is going on around, and you have the habit of always being looking at the bad news, looking at the negative around, then we need to change that habit. That is a habit, actually. And then we need to substitute it for, instead of doing that, doing a gratitude journal, or basically that is a habit that it seems to be very subtle, because actually all the habits, we do them subconsciously, unconsciously. It's like when you wake up, you go and put your clothes on, brush your teeth, wash your face, and go grab your coffee. You don't think about doing it. But For example, another habit will be you want to stop drinking coffee because it's like, let's say for a medical reason is not doing good to you. Then the habit, that is a habit that needs to be substituted, and then you can, but it's very, very important that when you decide to substitute a habit, you intentionally have a good habit you want to substitute it for, because it could be that you decide, okay, I'm going to stop drinking coffee, but because I intentionally didn't put a new habit that I give to myself, to my subconscious mind, then I'm going to go from drinking coffee to drinking pop instead of drinking water. But if we want to be in productivity, for example, or business, I might have the habit of not reaching out or not following up with my clients right away, or I might have in my family, I might have the habit of always complaining or just looking at the bad things that my husband does. Or with my kids, I have the habit of always yelling at them instead of taking my time, calm down, and then listen and talking to them. Those are habits that we could purposely substitute. And as I said, they are not really considered bad habits, but those are habits that are affecting our life in a negative way.
Well, I know that, you have extensive work with families and children, and I know that's been a passion of yours. And I know that a lot of times when we have children, we, we're not aware of it. But we pass a lot of our habits, I guess, good and bad, to our children. And do you see that when someone, let's say a mom that has children that has come to you that has these self-doubts, these fears, and, maybe they're procrastinating, they have lack of confidence, do you see as they turn that around, is that also passed down to their children? And I guess to follow up that, how young or how old does someone need to be able to actually work through a change like that?
Okay, that's actually another awesome question. Yes, I've seen it a lot. When the parent has anxiety, the kid is going to be more anxious, because what happens is that the parent is not giving the certainty and the feeling of protection to the kid. Then the kid will also have anxiety. And not only talking about anxiety, the parent is always late. So it's going to be hard for that kid to also be on time if the parent is always late. So, but those type of habits, and many times, if you ask around, if the parent smoke, the kid is gonna smoke. But those are habits, and they can be passed along. They either this reprogramming can happen genetically, but can also happen by our environment. So if we actually remove that from the environment, we have a great potential from changing it. And to the age to start changing our habits, it will be any age when the person is willing to do it. Because unfortunately, I've tried it before, like with a family member, like trying to lose weight together or trying to do something, eating healthy together. If that person is not committed to or doesn't willingly want to do it, it's going to be hard, because this will, you can change and reprogram your mind and create those successful habits and that attitude of success. But you have to be willing to do the work, willing to do the repetition, willing to do the exercises. So what age will be? If a 12-year-old is willing to do so, it can be done. Of course, if it will depend a lot on when they are ready. And this is similar if I compare with cognitive behavioral therapy that I use with some patients that have certain behaviorals or medical problems that are related to anxiety, depression, ADHD. So also we need them to cooperate and be willing to cooperate with it. So I will say any age where they want the change.
Well, and that's something that a lot of people, I think, don't realize how much that affects their own families when they're going through those changes and their attitudes. And I think that's incredibly important. One thing that I wanted to touch on is that, and maybe this is a myth or a misconception, but a lot of people, you see when you hear about really successful people, people you hear, like the Jeff Bezos from Amazon or something like that. And it gives you the impression that achieving success requires extreme focus on that goal. And oftentimes it seems to be to the neglect of other parts of your life. So if someone's trying to focus on successful in their business, that may lead to neglect, of their family, relationships. But I know that you, work with people and to find that kind of clarity, right, on about the goals, but also the ability to prioritize or to find a balance between that goal of success and also without neglecting those other parts of your life, so family, friends, that kind of thing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. And you know what? That is very, very important. And that's exactly what happens to many of the people that I work with, that these females, they focus so much on their career and they neglect their personal life. I was actually someone like that before. Now, thankfully, I feel I feel really good balance, and I have a wonderful marriage. But this is something that can give us a lot of problems as well. Let me tell you, being focused and being clear about your goal is very important. But there is something very important as well, and we need to know that you don't need to work hard to achieve what you want, to achieve success. You need to work smart, and that's actually what we work on by working with your mental faculties and reprogramming your mind. Many times, actually, my own coaches they tell me you have to slow down and rest and think, and actually you are way more productive when you do that. But by taking time to relax with your family, by taking time for your personal care, your self-care, and that keeping that balance, actually that's what helps you to actually reset and restart. And as I said, yes, being focused and knowing what you want to do is important, because it's like the GPS in the car. But there is something called, and actually I talk about that in my program as well, the effortless way. And the effortless way, it has a lot to do with working more in your mind, in your thoughts, and basically putting the ideas of what you want and how you picture your future and your goals already achieved, and celebrating your goals and putting them on your subconscious mind. Let it work, basically. And you need to take that time off. That is what's going to help you to balance other areas of your life without being worrying all the time just about that obsession or that just financial goal, neglecting your family.
Yeah, and I know that sometimes that's difficult to do, and to be able to sit down and think about that and prioritize that. I can see how important that can be. Let me ask you, if you don't mind, a little bit about your coaching program. Is that something that people, you work one-on-one with people to do that, or is it done in a group setting? What does that look like, working with you as a coach?
Yes, this is actually a very good question, because I don't work by myself. I don't work alone. Actually, I'm besides being a success coach, a pediatrician, I actually am a Dr. Gallagher consultant. So I actually part of my coaching program is I facilitate the program, and I'm a mentor and I'm a coach. I experience the program in my own life. The program is called Thinking into Result, but big part of the program is delivered by Bob Proctor himself and Sandy Gallagher, and I actually coach on everything else, the implementation, and basically making sure that as is working for me, is working for you. And as I said, it's called thinking into result because we actually create the results we want first. And then instead of letting the circumstances or the negative result determine our thoughts and our behavior, it's going to be the other way around. We first decide the result we want, and then we actually reprogram our thoughts, and our behavior will follow when we are emotionally involved. And believe it or not, this definitely work. This is backed up by 60 years of experience from Bob Proctor, and I've seen in front of my eyes, and I've seen it with my own life, how actually it helps you to be more creative, to worry less, to work less, to, as I said, use the effortless way to start closing that, knowing, doing that. And you can apply it in your business, in your career, in your personal family life, of course, because I'm a family advocate and I love kids. I love my patients as a pediatrician, but I use a lot of these tools with my own patients when it's allowed and appropriated. But definitely is by changing your mind. It's like and it's not just talking about like random positive thinking, because positive thinking doesn't last. It has to be this is something permanent.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think, well, if I think about it long enough, maybe something will happen. But I guess it actually takes, the commitment to put it into action. Right. So is that what you help people do, is take, like we talked about, that conscious and subconscious, that people know what they need to do to be successful? And is that what you help them to do, is to actually put that into action and follow through on those types of things?
Yes. I teach about how to reprogram your mind. I'm studied also like a lot about neuroscience, and recently I started studying with John Assaraf as well, and because I'm very scientific as well, so I like the scientific part. and yes, what I do is I help a lot to change, as I said, change those habits, help you in the area of your life that you want to start. But this is something, these tools, you can apply them and you can be repeating them. This is repeatable. You can use it to grow your business, grow your company, and repeat it to hit a higher goal. But as I said, you can use it also to find that love of your life, if that's what you want.
Well, I think, that's what's extremely refreshing about the way that you do this is that you do take a scientific approach to something that has there's a lot of psychological and emotional aspects to it, and to be able to take that scientific approach is refreshing and very powerful. How can people find out more about Dr. Hadeily and to get involved in the things that you're doing? I know you do workshops and you have your coaching. How can people find out more about that?
Yes, so I have an upcoming workshop. This is a free 5-day workshop where I'm going to be talking a lot about all those things and how to basically set the right goals and overcome those self-limiting beliefs and create an attitude of success. This is going to be September 6th to September 10th, but I'm going to be redoing it like every 2 months. But the website is my first name and last name together. It's like Hadeily, which is Hadeily, Salazar is SALAZAR altogether at .com, basically HadeilySalazar.com, and also my business Facebook page is Hadeily Salazar Coaching, and I have some videos there too that where you can actually find the link as well to the group. There is my upcoming workshop is called From Average to Unstoppable, and there is a Facebook group that you can join, and the Facebook group name is From Average to Unstoppable group. And I actually talk a lot about these things, about working smarter instead of working harder, about how to change your self-image, because unfortunately that's a lot of times a big part of what is limiting you, how to close the knowing doing gap, and how to use the power of your mental faculties as well.
Well, Dr. Hadeily, I have to thank you for coming on and sharing this information. It's something that I think a lot of people need. I think it's something that that's so unfortunate, that holds so many gifted and talented people back from reaching their potential. And for you to be able to help them through that and overcome those, really is remarkable. And especially with your background, I think just strengthens that tremendously. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing today.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, folks, there you have it. Definitely check out Dr. Hadeily. Again, that website, HadeilySalazar.com, HadeilySalazar.com. We'll have that link on the show post, along with a link to her Facebook group, Average to Unstoppable. Strongly suggest you check it out and just explore a little bit further the principles and the ideas that she shares. And I think you'll see just how powerful those can be. So until next time on Influencers Radio, remember, you are the only real game changer.
You've been listening to Influencers Radio. To get all past shows and updates on future shows, visit influencersradio.com today.